Christine Loh is from the Institute for the Environment at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. She says the International Maritime Organization's net zero target for 2050 is leading new ways of thinking.
This is a real driver for change within the shipping industry. So you're beginning to see ship owners ordering new ships. You're seeing people looking at new fuels. They're trying new kinds of fuels. They're looking at being much more energy efficient. So there's a lot of things actually going on in the shipping industry.
Let's talk about China, because China has 7 of the world's 10 largest container ports, has also been involved in building or enlarging ports across 40 ports across the world. So China is very, very involved. What initiatives is China taking to make shipping greener?
Well, China is a very large maritime country, and it has some of the biggest shipping companies in the world, like COSCO, China Merchants. It is also an enormous shipbuilding economy, along with Japan and South Korea. So China is very, very dominant. So China is doing a lot to deal with decarbonization, because it really needs to, because of its size. And of course, China also believes that the technology going forward for decarbonization is what will be key for the shipping industry and for its ships, its maritime sector, its ports, and also the development of new fuels, and so on and so forth.
Talk to me a little bit about these green corridors. I understand in 2022 there was one set up on the shipping routes between Shanghai and LA, but there are about 40 of them now. How do they work? I would imagine it involves a lot of cross-country collaboration.
It does. Actually, it's a very innovative idea. So what you need to do is you need to align cooperation amongst all the stakeholders, and you need to find certain routes where you have shipping lines going backwards and forwards along those specific routes, where you can work with all the stakeholders to try to reduce carbon emissions along those routes. So we call them now green corridors. So you could say these are experimentation routes, collaborating across the shipping stakeholders to see what can be done.
You mentioned a little earlier innovative new technology, building ships that rely on alternate energy, perhaps even wind-powered, solar-powered. I wonder if you can tell us a little bit more about that, and whether that's just extremely expensive and perhaps the biggest challenge?
Well, there are actually so many new technologies that are being tried. As you said, people are looking at wind power. So, how can you have huge sails on ships? There's been a revival also of nuclear power. So you're talking about little, small nuclear power on ships. You're also now talking about not just the fuel itself, but the cleaning up of fuels that are being used today. So carbon capture, that's been a very major thing. I think a Chinese shipyard, together with a Chinese technology, has now put in carbon capture on one of the evergreen shipping company's ship recently. So it's a Shanghai shipping yard that has done this. And, this is now the largest carbon capture technology fitted on this class of ships. So what I'm saying is that's another way, right? It's not just the new fuels, it's also using existing fuels, but having a technology that will clean the fuel. So all kinds of things are being tried.